guys, we're looking forward to the first big one of the season.
We are indeed, Kay, and particularly after that stirring trailer there, Derek. You know, what you can do with your voiceover, I'm gripped already after that.
I'm glad that you found it stirring, so there we go. And we hope it's going to be a stirring match on Saturday. It has been in the last couple of years when you think about, last season in particular, a pair of scoring draws, excitement until the end. And yeah, it's not Celtic against Rangers or Barcelona against Real Madrid or Galatasaray against Fenerbahce in terms of the actual rivalry, but it's something very special still.
And if we look at the most recent results there, you've alluded to it there, the fact that Dortmund have been able to start saying to Bayern, hang on, you're not going to have it all your own way every single time, is helpful, I think, to this game as a spectacle as well, because there had reached a point over the last few years where you were thinking, well, I know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, if you look back to, say, 2019 until 2023, it was very much Bayern's time. But that trend has been reversed, and Dortmund know what it is to win in Munich too, which I think can't be overlooked. And I do like this sort of labelling of the game as perfect Bayern, and they have been perfect so far with 10 wins in all competitions, against unbeaten Dortmund. And let's not overlook that, because unbeaten since the start of the season, a couple of wobbly games, you might say, in there, St. Pauli and Juventus, but they're doing it in a minimalistic way under Niko Kovac, not necessarily with attacking fireworks, but a lot of grit and determination and organisation.
Just seeing your man, Konrad Laimer, there doing the business more than a pressing monster, as he was labelled by our own Lutz Pfannenstiel a couple of years ago when he was in the jersey of RB Leipzig. Talking about Borussia Dortmund then, who causes problems? Who causes the most problems? Because they've got attacking talent of their own. Serhou Guirassy, to name probably their most impressive one, but there are others.
Yeah, Guirassy is the line leader, and obviously he has to be taken seriously, but the nuisance value comes from Karim Adeyemi. And we saw that in the games against Wolfsburg and Mainz in the Bundesliga, and able to score very different goals from one game to another. I was commentating on this particular game against Mainz, and makes it look ridiculously simple when he does that. He's one of the fastest players in the Bundesliga, and he knows what it is to prosper in Munich. He's from Munich himself, has been able to guide Dortmund to top performances in this city. So Adeyemi wasn't great, and we were talking about this off air. He's either very good or sometimes not so great. Wasn't great against Leipzig in the last match.
Exactly. Quoting the great Italian general of midfield there, current national team manager of Italy, Gennaro Gattuso, albeit a little bit of a change you've made there. Thank you, Derek. I want to come back to something you said there. Nuisance value. I feel that, we talk about XG. I think NV, I think, could be a good new thing.
Could have a future as a stat.
Because also, actually, I would say that in terms of the Bayern stakes in the newly created NV nuisance value stake, I would say that Konrad Laimer's pretty high up there. Just behind probably Harry Kane.
Well, here's another stat for you. Laimer is the leader for Bayern in terms of setting up shots. Mm-hmm. This is a new statistic that we have, so you can track who's actually setting up the shots or the attempts. Laimer, number 1 for Bayern, number 2 in the entire Bundesliga from a fullback.
Yeah, fullback seems generous given the way he marauds up and down that line. So, moving then to where you see this game being won and lost. Because, look, let's face it, Bayern are going to have the majority of the ball. But I think that Niko Kovac managing any team equals a certain preparation for we're not going to have as much of the ball. And you know what? We're okay with that.
Yeah, if Dortmund are going to win this game, it will not be by out-Bayerning Bayern. That's not going to be the recipe for their success. They are going to be sitting fairly deep, not too deep. There's always that balance you have to strike, but fairly deep with their back 3, which will doubtless become a back 5. I think the midfield, we used the word improvement earlier for Bayern, the midfield is greatly improved for Dortmund, and Kovac just spoiled for choice. Marcel Sabitzer is the face of that midfield improvement, and then they have to rely on the transitional moments in the game with Adeyemi front and centre there. So it can be done. Bayern are going to do it their way. They're going to have more of the possession. I think we know that. But what we haven't seen from Bayern this season in comparison with, say, last, these sort of little slack moments that sometimes creep in. Remember a game against Frankfurt last season where slack moments crept in? Barcelona and the Champions League last season. Not so much from Bayern this time. So Dortmund are going to have to be really resourceful. They don't create an awful lot, but they do take their chances and they do know how to defend. This is going to be fascinating.
It will be. Derek, thank you very much for now. Okay, there are only 4 points separating Bayern and Dortmund. It is crucial for Borussia Dortmund's, I would say, smallish title hopes that they get 3 of them back at the weekend. If they don't, as I know a certain Ale Moreno has said, this could be good night for the title race.